Welcome back, everybody. It's Tuesday night, and that means another episode of Tech Talk Live with Jiles McCoy. It's a big week this week, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is a big whopper of a week. And what better way to start out a whopper of a week than with a behemoth, a colossus of empire, a massive shining star, the North Star of all audiophilia. That's it, audiophilia. SVS, and the shining star of SVS, the one and only Nick Brown.
I mean, I don't think I've ever had an intro like that. I feel like I should run through a brick wall right now with like smoke shooting out, and my entrance isn't going to do justice to that intro. But Jiles, it is such a pleasure to be here. Like you said, it's Axpona Week, the largest audio show in North America. I know both of us are traveling out later this week, so I couldn't be more excited to join the Home Theater Fanatics broadcast live stream, but even more so because of what's happening later this week.
Yeah, it's super exciting, and like I said, the introductions are a little tongue in cheek, but in all reality, it's always a pleasure and an honor to have the SVS brand, and you in particular, because you're such an awesome dude, on the show. And we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. I mean, the Kool-Aid Man entrance might be something that sticks around with you for a while. I was more in my mind thinking like Evil Knievel with a cape.
Oh,
kind of. That's in my head. So everybody out there,
George, ring. Yeah,
I could see that. Evil Knievel, and then you come soaring in like you're on the motorcycle, and it comes up, and then you let the motorcycle go down, and then it's like you put your feet on the seat and you're just flying, and the cape is behind you. I could see it.
I got to get some animators to put this together, because this sounds like the kind of entrance that would do both of us justice.
I think it would be pretty darn awesome. Now, first off, we got a bunch of people in the audience, and I'm going to try and call folks out. And one thing that I'm noticing is we are getting a handful of folks from the SVS side that I don't see on my live stream on a weekly basis. Bad people.
It was the first time for everything.
Boomer CS, welcome. Joe Lemon or Limon, welcome. Okay, and then I've got a turncoat, Larry. Larry is often at my show, but he has joined from the SVS feed. Oh, for shame.
Larry has joined us at some of our in-person events. I believe the Home Entertainment Show out in California. So we know Larry very well, and he's a great friend of the brand. So what's up?
That's awesome. That's awesome. And another turncoat, Mad Piranha, usually joins on my side. But man, I think you've played Pokemon with all these people. Is that what you collected them all? My goodness.
Yeah, we play VR poker, actually.
Right on. But Symphonics Audio is a purist and has joined from the Jiles McCoy side. But he's all like, Nick, what's up? Nick.
He's a MacGyver. I met him at the Florida Audio Expo and other shows too. But some of the contraptions he whips up, I'm astounded by. This rigging for height effect speakers. Sorry, I'm going off the radar here.
Right. Oh yeah. No, he's definitely got it going on, and he will be at Axpona. And we're going to talk about Axpona, in a bit. And I'm very interested. So everybody that's on, if you're going to be at Axpona, let us know. And I'm curious to see who all is out there. Masterlock 777, welcome. Welcome from Colorado to your hello from Colorado, because I'm also in Colorado, and I'm in Castle Rock. So he'll probably be like, I'm in Castle Rock too. I didn't even know it. Oh, it's funny how often that happens.
The doorbell rings all of a sudden. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's set the stage for folks that might not be in the know, right? We might have, here's another one. Robert, Colorado's in the house here. I mean, we got it. And Symphonics says he'll drop over for a chat. But for folks that aren't in the know, for the one or two people out there that might not be familiar with SVS and the Nick Brown, let everybody know who you are, who SVS is and why they should care briefly. I mean, we're not here to get deep into that because I want to talk about this evolution speakers a
Yeah,
lot.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think I've earned a the title yet. That is the Larry from our team, but I appreciate you giving me a the there.
The
He's been hashtagged actually, but no,
nice.
SBS has been around for about 23 years. We were founded in Youngstown, Ohio. That's still where our operational hub is located, in a garage with these big cylinder subwoofers, and really where we were coming from was trying to bring a level of performance for the price that didn't exist. Back 20 so odd years ago, there was subwoofers. They started, at astronomical prices. There wasn't a lot of competition, and we really wanted to kind of disrupt things. So that's where we entered the fray as a direct to consumer model, and bringing world-class performance at prices that just were unheard of at the time. And we've really tried to continue with that mentality as we've gone. And now we have something like 21 different subwoofer SKUs. We have a Prime Series speakers, our brand new Ultra Series speakers, which is our new flagship line, and then accessories, which have been one of the faster growing parts of our business over the past few years. Again, sort of trying to bring in that performance for the price, bang for the buck, whatever you want to call it, and really set the standard in whatever product category we enter, including wireless audio too. So that's sort of SVS in a nutshell. And, we really try to take care of our people. We have a really awesome community. They're very supportive, and we love to give back with giveaways, things like that. So I look forward to kind of diving into all of that today.
Nah, that's awesome. And thanks for the background information here. So I think maybe before we talk about the shows and stuff, let's just go over the elephant in the room, the big news, right? And that is you guys. Okay, and this is a Jiles interpretation, right? So this is not the SVS didn't say this was our secret plan, but this is just Jiles looking. But to me, what it feels like is SVS said, all right, boys and girls, we're about to get serious up in this house, and we're going to drop some speakers that can go toe to toe with anything else that you're going to see at these crazy high end shows. And that's what I feel that the Ultra Evolution speakers are, right? I mean, it feels like you guys are coming out swinging, saying, you know what, we're going to build a audiophile and not to use that to classify, but just to kind of say this is really designed for that high level of performance, that high level of sonic clarity, and just that luscious goodness that we're all into. You guys said we're about to build this thing, and we're going to bring it out, and we're going to show the world what we can do. That's what it feels like. I mean, maybe you can let everybody know what's really up with the Evolution a little bit outside of
I don't know if I can improve upon sort of that preface you gave me, but you nailed it. I mean, that was really it. The original Ultra Series, they're about 12 years old. So certainly, we're due for a refresh. And at the time, they absolutely put us on the map as a high performance speaker manufacturer. It definitely was a far departure from anything we had ever done. We actually did a line of speakers about 5 years before that, which have been retired and never to be spoken of again. It's one of those things where our CEO has a joke like the industry is littered with subwoofer brands that have tried to make speakers and speaker brands that have tried to make subwoofers. You tend to do one thing really well and stick with it. And we just wanted to kind of break that mold. And so the original Ultra Series was our attempt at doing that, and they did phenomenally well for us. I think it sort of, again, established us as not just a subwoofer company, but we were still viewed as primarily, SVS, they're that subwoofer company. Then we launched the Prime Series, which were a lot of the technology from the Ultra Series trickled down to some lower prices. And again, those have done really, really well. They opened us up to entire new markets as far as, the pricing for them. But to your point, I don't think they were quite at that echelon of being in the conversation with some of these really hi-fi speakers that you're hearing and you're experiencing at shows like Expona. So, when we came to starting development on the Ultra Evolution series, which was about 2.5-3 years ago, Smith Freeman he's our main product designer, and Gary, our CEO, wanted to look at it sort of a no holds bar approach in terms of, what we could do with material science. What were some of the new materials that were being used in speakers, cabinet architecture, how the form factor, how the industrial design can affect performance, and then just general speaker technology, voicing, testing some of the new microphones, and the ability that you can actually bring a speaker to market. How could we take a fusion of those things and create, ultimately what would be our best attempt at a hi-fi speaker that absolutely obliterated what we did with the original Ultra series. And so that's sort of what got us to the Ultra evolution in terms of the naming convention, but also that sort of level of acoustic excellence while still having somewhat disruptive pricing, and really letting our passion for great sound shine through with these new speakers.
That's awesome. And, if you just start kind of on the outside and work your way in, when you look at them, they, I'm trying to think of the right word to use. They're not imposing, but they make a statement, right? When you look at them, you're all like, these are serious speakers, right? Because they're not your typical, I don't know, rectangle, box, right? I mean, they have character, right? And of course, that's really from a design necessity and a design philosophy around what you were trying to make them do. But aesthetically, it works out really well, right? And I don't know if you want to get into the whole, time alignment of drivers and that kind of stuff, but maybe just a little bit about that. Why the angles are more than just for looks.
Absolutely. And I want to hit on that acoustically centered time alignment. But to your first point, we had an interesting experience at CES where we sort of very softly, unveiled them. We didn't send out a press release. We didn't make any noise about them. We just put them out on display, and we were going to demonstrate them, and we were going to get feedback from people, knowing that they would launch in about 2 or 3 months afterwards. And we, obviously do a bigger deal about it. And, people were coming into our space, and one of the things we wanted to do was not make them divisive. Our original Ultra Tower, our flagship tower, sort of had this sweeping trapezoidal look, a big wide footprint, and it could create strong feelings one way or the other. What we found with the Ultra Evolution series is, people were coming up to them, and we'd have, and this is CES, so this is the mainstream tech community. This is not just your hi-fi crowd that is at Expo and some of these other shows. And people were saying, oh wow, those are so sleek, and they're almost like sexy in a way. And then other people are like, those are super masculine, and those look like badass, like they would really fit in my man cave. And then other people were like, those would go great in my living room. And so we wanted to create sort of iconic looking design, and I hate throwing that word around because it's used way too much, but a design that would really not like be sort of pigeonholed, not look like this is what it is, like overly high tech or overly branded, anything like that, but clean and just match the the sound that we were able to create with them. And I thought that was one element that we really nailed it with our design team, was getting that sort of look where, again, it just it's not divisive in the way that the original Ultra series were. It allows you to apply your whatever label to it that you want to. And to your point about the acoustically centered time alignment, we're not going to take credit as being the first ones to ever do this. Anyone who's followed, the speaker industry for a while has probably seen this sort of angled front cabinet. But I would say this may arguably be the least expensive speaker where you'll ever find this driver array and this cabinet architecture. And essentially what's happening is, the tweeter is the center point in between the two mid-ranges and the two woofers. And the sonic emanation point of that tweeter, which is the very front of the dome, is aligned with the inner part of the cone of each one of the mid-range and the woofers. And by having this exact alignment of the sonic emanation, I always trip up.
Right.
Sonic emanation points of all those drivers in the tweeter, it allows the sound to reach your ears at the exact same instant. The speed of sound is the speed of sound. And it's just one other thing you can do outside the crossover to ensure you're getting that perfect pinpoint imaging where, you're hearing sounds in space exactly where they should be. And you're getting that sort of sense of just timing and that again smooth frequency response throughout the driver, and just allowing that to give you the most convincing experience possible.
Yeah, and like you said, you find this type of technology in extremely expensive speakers, and I'll call out one brand because it's like super duper crazy expensive. I don't remember the model, but the Wilson Super Upside Down Chrono Master Supreme. The reason that it's all adjustable is to do this, right? So it's that same kind of concept, and ultimately the goal is to eliminate phase shift, due to physical distance, right? Because you can't chop your speaker up. You know what I mean? You can't take it apart and move the pieces around. So having it designed in is really awesome, really cool. All right, let me pull this out here, and I'm gonna just take a look and say hi to a few people. Bruce Reed, thanks for joining from Syracuse. And I've heard these for a limited amount of time, and he says they look amazing. I bet they sound it as well. And my memory is that they were good, and I can't wait to spend more time this weekend with them. And then we've got Brian Ramska is with us. Shampoo time. I mean, what's better than shampoo time? I mean, I'm down. Zedwick is here. Grant Wilno, Matt B, Van Gould, Dino, Boomer CS. We talked to him before. T Denning is with us. So lots of folks here making comments. And if you're out in the audience, don't be shy. This will be a awesome one. The Titans, which is my favorite name. Supernova Moore. Supernova is a good guy. And he's got the Titans coming, and I love that name. I mean, the Pinnacle name is great too, but man, Ultra Evolution Titans.
I know. I wish they could all have names like that. Like, that's one of those things where like you go back and forth, and some of them are just like, yes. And then we got to Ultra Evolution Elevation, and we're like, no. And so it's just the Ultra Elevation. But Titan was one of those, like, as soon as it came out, it's like, oh, should we give them all like, Greek or, whatever mythological names. And so it's that one really nailed it. And I want to know if he got the white gloss or if he got the black gloss for those Titans. So if you put that in the comments, I'm curious, because I am dying to get the white gloss ones here in my
don't they look pretty cool?
I don't know why the Titans look so good in white. I think they look better than any speaker we've ever made in the white gloss specifically. So I will be waiting until we fulfill more customer orders, but it's on my short list.
That's cool. And Siphonic saves me with the model. It's the Chronosonic XVX Wham.
I mean, I'll take that comparison every day. What's that, about 300K?
I think we'll take it. I think it's more. Master Lock, I think he succinctly summarizes the feeling around the white. It is indeed, it's 700K. So that just a mere pittance.
So 1/130th of the price at $5 there. I think that's
and you want to know what? And maybe this wouldn't be true, but if you took some people and sat them down and put the speakers behind a sheet and they couldn't see what's going on, I wonder what you know what I mean? I wonder what people would choose. I mean,
know. They would have a lot more to lose in that competition than we would, but it would be something that I would be intrigued to see the results of. That's for sure.
Yeah. So these are live and streaming now. So they're available. They are out there in the wild. And you're doing piano black, piano white, and then a wood grain in black or dark ash or something.
Correct. I should mention there's 7 total SKUs, and 2 of them are not quite available yet. We have a smaller tower, which is our Ultra Evolution Tower, and then a smaller bookshelf, our Ultra Evolution Nano, which will be available in late May, early June. All of the other 5 models, the Titan, the Pinnacle, which are our 2 larger towers, the center channel, the elevation, and then the larger bookshelf, are all available now in the 2 gloss finishes. And then that black oak finish will come at the same time that the two
Okay.
Nano and Ultra Tower. So those will be available again in about a couple months. And yeah, everything's available now on the SVS site. We're starting to see them pop up in some of our retailers around the country as well. We actually sold out of our first production run in Europe. I think the white gloss is going over huge there. It's actually a way more popular finish in Europe than it is in the US. We sell about 8-9 to 1 black to white here in the US. In Europe, it's almost 50-50. So we, there's been a lot of interest in this because the European market never really got behind our speakers. The Prime, I don't think, was up to what I think some of the other brands that were compared to over there. But with this new line, it's I'm actually shocked by how receptive it's been in in some of the European countries.
That's awesome. And to talk about colorways, I've noticed that geographically, there is a lot of variance in how tastes kind of skew. And in speakers, the normal colors are white or black, but then in components, you'll see either black or silver. And in the USA for a long time, it was just like black component, black component, black component, except for like the older stuff coming out of the 60s, 70s, that kind of stuff. And, it was more silver back then. But if you looked over at the Asian market, for example, it was all silver all the time, right? But I've seen that start to change. And I personally really like the silver as well. So you want me to share this out, what you've just thrown up there?
I wanted to show the white gloss, and this sort of shows all the speakers. So
yeah, there we go.
Since we're all geeking out about them, there you go. There's
Heck yeah.
The full-on surround setup, very similar to what we'll be running here at Exponent too.
Nice. So one meeting that I would really like to have been in is when design sat down with manufacturing and said, hey, we want to build this concave speaker that's going to have a concave kind of shaped grill. And they were like, oh God, we want us to build what? The manufacturing on this must be sophisticated and challenging.
Yeah, it's
has to be.
It's not for the faint of heart, and I believe that is why you have not seen this cabinet architecture in lower priced models before. And it takes some real fabrication. We're fortunate enough to own part of the factory where our products are manufactured, and that allows us to have a little bit more leeway with some of the material components, as well as the fabrication techniques that we have and the machinery that we have access to. So we were able to do this at a lower price point than I think other brands may have been able to. But yeah, I mean, some of the original prototypes, to get the right angle and to get it all set in the same place, there was a lot of long nights for our development team in getting it right. And even like the grills have that curve, and they're our first magnetic grills. To get those right, it really was no stones left unturned to be able to get it to that point where it looked natural, it had that curve, and it achieved what we wanted to do acoustically.
Right on. You should have a game to see who can throw a Titan grill and have it stick on, and whoever can do that from the furthest away wins that set of speakers, even if the
horseshoes
drivers are all punched out.
Yeah. What's funny about magnetic grills too? It's like there are some speakers, and I won't name names, where like literally you can sneeze, 5 feet away from them, and the magnetic grill will like fly off. And we, neodymium magnets are pretty expensive, which is why we haven't, we've always had the pin cup retention system, but we knew we wanted that clean front baffle. But yeah, I mean, that was an important thing for us. And I promise you can sneeze as hard as you want on these speakers, and that grill's not going anywhere.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We have a number of kind of specification and specific questions. So if folks want to go and look up all of the specifications on the speaker, that's all on the website, right? So they can go and look and see.
And I'll do my best to answer them. But I should also say, if you didn't know, SVS is world-class as far as customer service, and everyone says that, but I think Jiles can back me up here. Like, we take care of our people, and we are super responsive. So if it's something where, the marketing guy, me, can't handle it, you can interact with our team via SMS, chat, email. We do video consultations where they'll literally look around your room, They can help you adjust settings, help you with placement. So take advantage of that if you have some of these technical questions that maybe I can't answer, or you're just curious, to know how it might interact with your space and your other components. So that's my long-winded way of saying I don't know everything, but our team is standing by to assist you 7 days a week.
And that's really a valuable offer, right? It's not often, where a company will say, yeah, just call us and we'll talk through it, right? Even if you're not going to buy anything, we'll give you our advice about what to do in your room and that kind of thing. And, it takes a lot to hire a staff of customer support specialists that have that skill set, right? And have that knowledge. So there's a lot of training that has to go on to make that happen. So it's a really, really good offer. So for the specs, everybody go look. One of the questions was around tweeter height. I think that varies by model, right? So the tweeters aren't exact. If you get the Titan versus the Pinnacle, they're it's slightly different position, correct?
Yeah, they're different heights between the Ultra Evolution Tower, Titan, and Pinnacle. So you'll see that the tweeter slightly higher as you go up in each line. And one thing I should mention, because we have heard that it seems like it, at ear when seated, it's close to ear level, but maybe a little bit lower. The vertical dispersion characteristics with our new tweeter and with the new driver array, they measured better than we expected, because that was one of the conversations. Do we need to bring them all up a little bit? But we found that, the height that they're at and having that MTM, the mid tweeter mid arrangement, really gave just a broad sweet spot and just, pinpoint imaging, but also just kind of had those dispersion characteristics where you're not getting that sense of like beaming, where it's like, it sounds great right here, or doesn't sound here great, or if I stand up and like, it feels like I'm out of the sound field. So we were very cognizant of that. But yeah, you'd have to look at the dimensions on each individual tower to figure that out. And, I can guarantee you it was something we looked at really hard when developing those.
That's super cool. And, for everybody that's with us right now, I would urge everyone to stick around, because later in the show, there's going to be something pretty cool that happens that I'm not going to say what it is right now, but if you stick around, you'll find out about it, and it could make you marginally happy for someone, right? Maybe. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's a good cliffhanger right there.
Yeah, I mean, just marginally interesting for folks that are here with us tonight. But I do want to change gears, right, and not just talk about product all the time, because
Sure.
it's exciting stuff. And if you want to hear it this weekend, absolutely come to Expona. And in that vein, what would they hear if they came to Expona and came to what now is becoming soon to be a completely booked floor of only SVS gear?
Not a whole floor. We got a couple suites, although we probably should have our own floor. We've gotten some complaints in the past years, but they put us way out in the corner, which is where we asked to be, so we can have our fun. But no, this is going to be great for us. We have 2 suites, a 2-channel stereo audiophile suite, and then a home theater room. And so for so long, we've always been the guilty pleasure at these shows. That's our sort of little internal joke, where it's like, you know what? I go to all these $100,000 systems. They're playing classical music. They're playing jazz. They're playing, the Eagles, Diana Krall, whatever it is. And then I come to SVS and they're playing Godzilla versus Kong, Mission Impossible, Mad Max. And, it's sort of a different sort of dynamic sonic experience for people. And we are still going to be doing that. But we've realized that with these new speakers, we absolutely had to step up our game as far as that 2-channel crowd. I mean, we have to be honest, like that is the majority of folks who attend these shows. They're interested in music, and a lot of them, solely have 2-channel systems, and they're doing a better job, these audio shows, of bringing out the home theater crowd. I don't think gaming is quite caught on yet, but like they're trying. But in our rooms, we're going to have a full-on 5.2.2 home theater system with our Ultra Evolution Titans, the center, 2 of the bookshelves in the rear, and then 2 of our Ultra Elevations. Can't get that one right. And then a pair of our sealed cabinet SB3000 subwoofers, which are some of our most popular models. And I'm sorry, we're not bringing the PB16s, but we are in about a 15 by 18 hotel room. So there is a limit to how much you can pressurize those, or how much headroom you actually need. And we found our SB3000s interact with those hotel rooms in the best way possible. So for our 2-channel room, again, we've always had this mentality of like, let's just run things off an AV receiver or very entry level equipment. And if you come into our room and you experience a sound that really is as good, if not better than a lot of what you're hearing, then imagine if you feed it better front end equipment. Again, we thought that wasn't good enough. So we've got some, I would call it mid-fi. It's not going to be $50,000 mono blocks. It's not going to be, Krell and Goldman and, any of this stuff that is going to be worth more than the entire system. We're not going to have $50,000 cables, but, we'll use some Emotiva, some Cambridge gear, some stuff that's a little bit upscale from what we've used in the past. And we'll have a pair of our Ultra Evolution Pinnacles, our flagships in 2-channel. And then our Ultra Evolution bookshelves powered by our Prime Wireless Pro sound base, which to me, I can't wait to have that system in my bedroom, because that is what's being connected to my TV when ultimately they get delivered. So that's sort of our take on a more modern 2.1, 2.0 bookshelf system powered by our wireless streaming amp, and then a more prototypical hi-fi system with the preamp and streamer.
Right on. Don't be shocked if we show up with a couple of $150,000 Boulder monoblocks and some other things, and like, hey, can we just for a minute here hook this up and just check it out?
Well, I will say, if there are any of those manufacturers who would like to feature some speakers, SVS will listen. We're absolutely all ears if any of the component manufacturers want to try something in that vein. So we'll leave it at that for now, but certainly we've realized the value of having better front end equipment, and that's going to be something we adopt going forward with our 2-channel system.
No, that's great, and I think you guys are ready to enter the that arena, right? This is you have passed go. I hereby dub the audiophile material.
Well, thank you.
Everybody's out there golf clap.
This is it. This is where that gets validated, and people are generally too polite to say to your face, like, honestly, they're way too bright, or like some people aren't, or like, these would really benefit if you took that Denon out to the dumpster and hooked it up to some better front end. But, when you have a speaker that is trying to be in the conversation with, these $700,000 pair, then you got to give them the best chance they can at competing. And that's sort of our mentality here going forward with some of these shows.
That's awesome. So Double A has joined us. I always like to welcome him. He's a steadfast viewer on my show, and I really appreciate all the time he puts in coming and hanging out. So Double A, welcome to the show. And then for everybody that's here that's not a member of my channel, head on over to @Jiles McCoy and click that subscribe button. I do this stream every week. I actually stream 3 different shows every week now because I am insane. Maybe almost as many as Nick does. I'm sure you do a lot.
You are prolific. I will give you all the props for that.
Right on. Okay, so staying in the vein of the show, or maybe all the shows, you guys are doing this thing with a music list or something. What's the deal? What's going on? I don't know what's up with all that.
So we do our virtual audiophile happy hours, and we've started curating playlists, much like you have these comments flying in right now. We do once or twice a month live stream broadcasts where we just sort of have guests or shoot the shit or whatever. And one of the things that we thought would be cool was to just throw it out there, like, let's build the ultimate subwoofer demo playlist and just have people start naming songs. And so we started doing that with a couple different genres, and it's become really popular for us. And there's actually a program called SoundIz, SONDIIZ, I believe it is. And it allows you to take a single playlist on Spotify, for instance, and then have it recreated on all the major platforms, Tidal, Amazon, et cetera, et cetera. And so, basically we've started curating these playlists, and we're going to do the same thing at Exponus. So whether you want to submit one via email or via an online form, or just come by, I would love to actually do some short form video where someone like yourself, Jiles, maybe shows up and I'm like, what's your song, Jiles, and why? And we're just trying to focus on really well recorded audiophile tracks that aren't sort of the prototypical cliche audiophile track. And I'm hoping we'll get a great list of demo songs that show off, the high frequencies, the low frequencies, the transient speed, like some of the different elements that people look for when shopping for really hi-fi speakers, and then have this playlist and then share it back out with our community. And this can become essentially an audition, playlist for people who may be considering different speakers. So again, there'll be a form, there'll be a QR code, and you can just come by and talk to me, and I'll write it in my notebook. But within a week after the show, we'll have this playlist put together and share it back out with our community.
So, is it going to be named something like the SVS list, so people could just go to their platform of choice and search for SVS and potentially find these playlists?
Yeah, you can actually find the ultimate subwoofer demo playlist just by searching SVS in any one of those streaming platforms. And this one will probably be branded for Xpona, like the SVS Xpona, audiophile playlist. So we'll give them some props, since that's really the centerpiece for where it's being curated from. But yeah, it'll be easy to find, and we'll have links on our social and on our site in different places.
That's super cool. Super cool. All right. Well, I do want to talk about a few other things, right? So, I guess to finish out the show kind of topic, this is Xpona coming up next. So what does the rest of the year look like for SVS, for people that want to, kind of say hi, meet and greet, and see things in person? What does the rest of the year hold?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So we just got done with Montreal Hi-Fi Show, which I had no idea how big that is. That is Xpona in Canada. It's massive. So if you ever get a chance, I know Siphonics was there. I hope I said that right. I just missed him, but definitely recommend that show. But coming forward, we got Xpona. And then on May 30th in Montgomeryville, Pennsylvania, which is just outside Pennsylvania, about 20 minutes, or Philadelphia, about 20 minutes, we're doing a in-store event at one of our top dealers called Worldwide Stereo. I think a lot of people in that region probably know who they are. That'll be May 30th. We'll be doing similar to what we did at Listen Up when you were able to make it out, that kind of event with one of our partners there. Then we'll be at the Munich High End Show, the largest audio show in the world, which if you are an ultimate hobbyist, there is no greater mecca than the Munich High-End Show out there in Germany. So I would strongly recommend that. We got M-Wave, which I'm sure you're aware of, as far as a lot of Michael, the youth man, put that together out in Kansas City. The Home Entertainment Show in Costa Mesa. We're planning on doing Capital Audio Fest, which is not till November, but that will be the first time we've exhibited officially as SVS. We've worked with a local audio group there, but we'll be there in full in November. And then we'll have a number of those other dealer events like the Worldwide Stereo one, different regional dealers that will pop up here between now and then. So we'll certainly announce those. And then if I'm missing one, I think the Pacific Audio Show is one that we haven't done before, but we're hearing good things. And I think that might be one we have to take the leap on for the first time this year.
That's outstanding. That's a full kind of slate of things and events to attend. So everybody out there, you have no excuse. If you want to hear it, you can hear it. Find them.
They're special in the sense that, a lot of times when people come to the shows may never be able to own something like this, but with SVS, they can actually own it. There's a much larger percentage of people who can go there and be like, that sounds just as good as that other room, that is 10 times the price. And I think that's where we really see the value in these, because we hear that over and over and over from people who come to our space. And honestly, it's when brands like SVS go to these shows, it brings awareness to these shows. It helps the hobby. It's the whole rising tide lifts all boats. And that's part of our mission. We don't look at them as competitors, the people in the rooms next to us. We look at them as, folks who are going to benefit from what we bring to the table and vice versa. So that's kind of our mentality. And, they're a bit of a grind, but it's totally worth it. And they're fun. Like I love going to different cities and eating the food and meeting the people who own our products or who might. And so we'll keep doing them.
That's outstanding. Now I have to call out Mr. Tin Bender or Mrs. Tin Bender or Junior Tin Bender. I don't know. But this person subbed to Jiles and loves my viewpoint. And I love you too. Everyone, this is an example for all viewers. Listen to Tin. He knows what he's talking about. A little selfless self-promotion. Shameless.
So Tim, this might be a good segue into announcing what people who leave such instructive and wonderful comments. I would love And I know everyone wants an Ultra Evolution giveaway, but you can't always get what you want. I would love to give away an SB1000 Pro subwoofer to one person who has left a comment, and that doesn't have to be just tonight. I know you get a fair amount of viewers who tune in after the fact, so
Yep.
SVS will put up an SB1000 Pro subwoofer. This is dynamite in a compact box. Somebody's really going to love it, and I will let you choose how you want to give this away, Jiles, but it's compliments of SVS for all the contributions you've made to the
that is awesome. I love it when we have an opportunity to give back, but I'm going to put some rules around this thing.
Ooh, okay.
Just a handful. If you're here on the SVS channel and you make comments on the SVS channel, those are not going to be an entry because I have no way to come back and interact. Nick's a good guy, but he is not good enough to be like, Jiles, here's our password. Just come into our YouTube channel and do as you wish. So if you want to be entered into the giveaway, come back over to @Jiles McCoy. It's on the screen, right? There. You don't have to subscribe. Just make a comment, and it can't just be like me. It needs to be, I would like this subwoofer for this reason, and I will choose randomly amongst those folks, and I'll reach out and get your contact information. But it needs to come through my channel because I don't really have a good way to do that otherwise. And I also just like to greedily pull more people to my channel. Again, shameless self-promotion, but that is very generous, Nick. Thank you so much.
Well, it's our pleasure. And I think if you left a comment like sub to Jiles and love his viewpoint, it might get you an extra vote, but I'm not making the rules here. This is the man in charge.
I have no comment on that. However, man, those comments do make my heart full of warmth. That is 100% true. And talking about things being full of warmth, let's talk about some of the things that SVS does that kind of spreads love around the world, right? And this is maybe a side of the company that isn't discussed quite as much, but you guys have a charitable branch, so to speak, right? Yeah, I mean, you have efforts for that kind of thing, and I'm really curious if you could talk a little more about that and what you guys have going on, because I always like it when successful people are able to give back, and you're going to be a leader there.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this is a little, the term I've heard is like inside baseball. We believe in cause marketing, but not like putting it front and center. We're not like, buy a subwoofer, we'll donate a pair of earplugs to, somebody who goes to concerts a lot or whatever. Like, it's not that kind of thing. We have certain causes that we support locally in the Youngstown, Ohio area, but then also, the arts. So the Washington Performing Arts, this is actually an organization very close to Gary, our CEO. He's actually on their board. And what we've started doing is supplying our Prime Wireless Pro speaker systems, which is pretty much an all-in-one powered speaker pair.
They're great.
Yeah, to music programs and classrooms in need who don't have any sort of AV gear to really be able to let their students know what a real cello sounds like, or to be able to play back sound and music that will inspire them to maybe move forward. So that's one part of what the WPA, the Washington Performing Arts, does is providing technology and musical instruments, things like that, to classrooms which, because of funding are unable to have those kind of things. So we heavily support that. But then on the other end of the spectrum, the idea of that is let's hope to inspire people at a young age to want to pursue music and the arts and to get involved in building a career or just having a passion for sound and audio. But then on the other side, we're also taking aspiring artists who work with the WPA and helping them have a platform to actually perform and pursue careers where maybe they wouldn't be able to. So, as part of what our vision is to, again, bring the audio industry up by attracting new people to the world of hi-fi and the world of high performance. We want to do the same thing in terms of cultural outreach and getting people interested in music and sound in ways that is, progressive, but also, hits them at home and right, allows them to really engage on that level. And then we also work with the CTA quite a bit, the Consumer Technology Association. They put on the CES show, and they do a lot with accessibility. So, people may have seen some of our social posts from CES. We actually had Stevie Wonder in our booth, and,
that's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, that was just
really cool.
totally out of the blue too. And he spent like an hour and a half just listening to all of our different speakers. He was listening to his own music and bobbing his head. And like, it was just one of those moments like that was sort of surreal. And it was just this, like, people just started gravitating towards our booth and like created this big circle around it. And it was like, it was out of this world. But, you know, part of what we support too is, you know, getting technology out there to people who have, you know, accessibility, either, sorry, I'm not explaining it well, but like they have certain, you know, they're either visually impaired or they have other sorts of impairments that don't allow them to be able to, you know, live as fulfilling a life as they could otherwise. And so that's part of what we support through the CTA. And Stevie Wonder is actually a great advocate for that as well, specifically in the world of audio because of what an icon he is. So those are just some of the little things that we do that are, you know, meant to be passion projects behind the scenes. But when somebody asks, I love talking about it because I've been to these classrooms in DC where these speakers are being set up, and like the way the kids react to it, and to be able to hear music and to be able to, you know, feel bass and understand sound on a deeper level than they ever have. You know, that part is meaningful. And so I get a lot of pleasure and joy out of my job just by being able to do something like that.
That's really cool and very inspiring. And you know, when you think about musical performance, so you know, when I was a kid, I was big into band, right? You know, I played trumpet and soprano bugle, and I marched drum and bugle corps, and you know, competed internationally and that kind of stuff. And you know, that became a very kind of foundational part of my, you know, high school and younger kind of growth and maturity. And you know, I formed friends there that, you know, are still lifelong, right? Which is really awesome. And you know, I was able to you know, just this past week, my son, he plays trumpet and piano, my younger son, and he was at his trumpet lesson. His instructor, you know, we were chatting about some exercises and stuff for him to work on range and that kind of thing. And then I said, yeah, he needs to be able to play way above the staff so that he can go join the Blue Knights and march drum corps. And she was like, oh, you guys know about drum corps? I'm like, yeah. And we're like, yeah. And the Blue Knights are the corps out of Colorado. God, I'm hoping I'm not messing that up. Yeah. The Blue Devils are on the East Coast. But I asked her, I said, did you ever march? And she's like, yeah, I marched Southwind in Alabama. And I marched Southwind in Alabama. Of course, I marched in 1989 because I'm old, and she marched in 2008 or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I guess the reason I say this stuff is that, you know, music is a very impactful item for youth, right? And you know, I love to see how you guys are helping bring music, if it's just from listening or for performing, to youth that might not have as much access as they would like to have. That's a big deal, and it's to be lauded. So, man, that's awesome. I'm really happy to hear that.
Well, I appreciate that. And my son actually played trumpet all through high school, was the drum major. I played baritone. So maybe we could start a little brass ensemble here for
Nice.
the audio industry and play some gigs at these audio shows.
That's right. You know, I'm not quite a Wynton Marsalis anymore, but
I play a mean Saints Go Marching In. I'll tell you that much. So,
I can still play. I can still play the Greenville High School marching band theme. Dun 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 dun. I used to know the words and everything, but Tigers. That's who we were. The Greenville High School marching Tigers.
Now you're making me want to sing the Portsmouth Patriots fight song now too. I got that one ingrained in my memory forever.
Man, good. Yay for the horn section. That's right. Brass for life.
It's ironic because his name is Chris Wood. You know, you think he'd be like a clarinet player.
Chris would win. No, none of that.
Thank you for the brass love.
Yeah, my brother played saxophone, so we were always, you know, kind of like this. But yeah, for me, it's always brass all the time. All right. So I'm curious for everybody that's out there watching. Have you guys watched the Three Body Problem, and have you watched Three Body, which is the Chinese version, and then have you read the books, which I don't know the name of, and then have you read the books in the original Chinese? So Nick, have you watched Three Body Problem yet on Netflix?
It's the only book series I've read cover to cover twice. I was Cixin Liu, I believe is the author.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just gripped by these. I love sort of sci-fi, post-apocalyptic, and this brought it all together in such a way. And there are, some deep descriptions of technology that sort of went over my head, but I just thought it was woven in such a way, and the way that the aliens were presented was such a novel concept to me. And then the video game aspect of it too, like it just was such a interesting interplay between culture, technology, alien conspiracies and all of that. Like it had everything that I love as far as a book series goes. And I'm supposed to be watching it with my wife. She fell asleep during the second episode, so I have not been able to move past that one. But I am absolutely committed to finishing it, and I'm about to just plow through it, and then I'll just rewatch it with her when she has the time. But I'm not that far into it. But I found the books to be just absolutely wonderful, and I would highly recommend them to anyone who's into sci-fi or alien, conspiracies, things like that.
Okay, so everybody, for the next 30 or so seconds, if you don't want to have spoilers, please, la or something. So I'm going to try and ask this in the least spoiler-ish way possible. But for the television show, it ends at a certain point, and you find out that something's on the way, right? And I don't know. I think there are going to be like 4 seasons on the TV show, but I assume, and this is the spoiler part. In the books, they come, right? Does it get to the point where they like show up?
I mean, there's there's
okay.
They got into the Sophons. Do you know what the Sophons are yet?
The 2 Sophons that came and they like changed the physics and stuff and all that.
But you don't know what they're capable of yet fully, do you? Because I haven't made it past to the final episode of this, because the Sophons are, a huge part of why the aliens have as much time as they do to come. Yeah.
Right.
So the short answer is I can answer yes.
Yeah.
Definitively yes.
I know that the Sophons are going to do stuff so that there's plenty of time for them, because otherwise, time would not be on their side. But with the Sophons in place, time will be just fine.
And have they, by the end of season 1, has the humans established like a war Starfleet or anything like that?
We have are the wall facers or whatever they're called.
Yep.
Yeah. And but no, I don't think
so. That the next season must be some of the wall facers plans get put into effect, and that's where you start seeing more of the militarization aspect. But the ultimate wall facer, I mean, that's one of the best twists of any book I've ever read, and I'll just leave it at that. But like it catches you off guard. It's brilliant.
Okay, I know what's happening on a 3-hour flight tomorrow. I'm going to be listening to. I'm not going to try and read. I'm just going to listen to. I'm going to start the books. It's what, 3 books, right? And then they have a 4th one. Do you know? Have you read that one?
No, I think Death's End was the last one that I got through. I didn't know there was a 4th one. Yeah, no, maybe it's a shorter one. I think I did. It's like somewhat disconnected. I'll have to look back at my reading history, because I finished them like a year and a half ago for the second time.
Right on. Yeah. So I think the first 3 maybe were written by the gentleman's name that you just said, and then the 4th one is written by somebody else, but it's approved by the author.
It was connected. Yeah.
And they actually tell you a little bit about the physiology of the aliens that you didn't pick up for certain in the books, although they drop so many hints, at least in the shows on TV, but I think they just come out and kind of say it in that 4th book or whatever. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to get started. Okay, enough of that. But you had something that you were watching, right?
Yeah. So I love nature documentaries, nature specials. Like I love the outdoors in general. And Apple TV put this series together. It's 12 episodes called Earth Sounds. And basically, Apple TV, I don't think cheaps out. When they make a series, I think they try to do a really complete job. And essentially what this whole series is about is each different episode tracks in a different part of the world. And it's all about just the acoustics, the sounds that come from nature, whether it's an owl's ability to hear a mouse crawling under a snowdrift a mile away. And they use these really advanced microphones to basically play sounds and identify the way that animals in nature uses acoustics to hunt, to mate. It's like a lot of it's just like, foreplay. It's like how these different pigeons make noises that are, ground grouse that make noises that attract females, but they beat their wings in such a way that it projects forward so predators can't hear it, and they know where their, potential mate is. They have, how humpback whales can make some of their calls go, 50 miles underwater. And the recording of them, a lot of these sounds have never been heard by humans before because they're just outside our threshold of human hearing. And so they're able to recreate some of these sounds of nature in a way that, you've never heard before. And having, a fully immersive system, like I'm in a rainforest and I'm hearing, this bat project, a sonics through this rainforest, and it just is so immersive. And then they spend like the last 10 minutes of each episode talking about the technology, how they were able to put cameras, and the camera works is phenomenal too, and put microphones in different parts, under glaciers and things like that, where they've never been able to do it before. But it's all about sound. And again, to have something where I'm so passionate about audio, but then also this nature documentary, and be able to shut my lights off and turn the system on and feel like I'm, in the Antarctic or in a rainforest. If you're into nature and that kind of thing, I couldn't recommend Earth Sounds enough on Apple TV. It was just an engaging watch. And I'm actually trying to get some of this content to demo because I want to show people what an elephant blowing his trunk in your ear sounds like, or, what, oh God, there were so many different examples I could list through, but
I want that whale bass.
Yeah. You got to get the whale bass. I mean, these things are projecting sound, hundreds of miles. It's impressive. Then even like, antelope butting heads, and like the decibel level if you're standing close to that, and it's just it's really impressive.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. Oh, and Barry's he's on the team, man. Former trumpet player, current sci-fi fan, SVS follower. He's in the group, man. He's in the club.
He might have dual SB 1000 Pros by the end of next week. Who knows?
You never know. And speaking of that, and then looking at the clock, we are at the end of our time. It's flown by. I was like, okay, we both got to pack and get ready, and maybe we'll kind of go short. Well, we've done the full hour already. So, Nick, thank you for that.
But I haven't even talked about the diamond-coated tweeter or the force-balanced woofer array and the Ultra Evolution. We're gonna have to do a secondary follow-up to
another show. It's gonna have to happen. It's gonna have to happen. So there's more, ladies and gentlemen. There's more to know. So keep your eyes peeled. And for those that have subscribed to both channels, if they ring the bell, they'll be notified when this great content comes out. So they'll know when to watch, right? They can be like, oh, it's gonna happen. I guess the final closing, if you do want to win the SVS SB 1000 Pro, make sure on the @Jiles McCoy channel that you comment why, or that you're interested in winning one, and I will pick the winner after Expono when we get back next Tuesday. And I'll try and reach out to, and if I can get in contact with the winner by the time I stream next Tuesday, I'll announce that. Otherwise, I'll work on that contact. But Tuesday will be the last day, so make sure you get your entry in before noon on Tuesday next week, which is what, the 16th. Yeah, the 16th. And someone luckily will have another subwoofer added to their collection and be able to enjoy that awesome animal whale bass much better than.
I mean, it only sounds good on an SVS subwoofer. If you're doing that humpback whale bass, you got to have it. And if you don't mind, can I throw out one more teaser, Jiles?
Absolutely.
We got Expona. We'll be in 1442 and 1444 at the show, but there'll be other opportunities to win SVS products this week, as we are doing our own audiophile happy hour this Thursday at 6 p.m. You can find us, as all of our YouTube folks, who some of which are tuning in right now, know. We'll be going live then from our rooms at Axpona, being able to showcase the systems behind us. Jiles, you are more than welcome to join virtually, or if you want to just pop into one of the rooms, I
Absolutely.
think you did last year, and share your 2 cents, what your experience has been, what you're expecting from the show. But yeah, so this Thursday, 6 p.m., check out the SVS YouTube or Facebook. We'll be broadcasting live there, and maybe you'll see this guy as part of it.
Absolutely. That sounds wonderful. Oh, and I have to roll back one final comment too, I guess. I keep saying they're final, but it's never final. You said, for the animal sounds, this was ways that they can, attract a mate. I can remember doing something, or at least in my head, thinking I was doing something similar when I was in high school, as I would try to rattle people's windows and doors with the bass in my car, thinking to myself, I am the coolest cat ever with this
Turning
bass.
heads.
Yeah. I don't know if it really worked as effectively as I had hoped, but man, I was trying.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that is that is natural selection right there. You are attracting a mate with those those long, low frequency sound waves. They just travel for miles, and they know when you're coming, and
I'm sure that I could get all the way down to like 30 hertz or something. Back in the day. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it. We're going to close it up. Nick, thank you so much for joining. Really, really appreciate it. Everybody else out there, thank you for joining. Your time is precious, so I appreciate you spending it with me and Nick. So thank you so much. Everybody, take care.
Happy listening. Thanks all.
See ya.